There is a space where you are all you need, where you are all you want. All there is here. Welcome to the Source Connection, conversations about who we truly are, the possibilities of creation and the new earth we are birthing. With your hosts, Tara Long and Liz B.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Tara. Welcome to episode 1 of the Source Connection. I'm going to hand it over to Liz to lead us through a beginning guided meditation to get us started. Hi, Liz.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Liz B. And let's just arrive in this space for a moment. Closing our eyes, deepening the breath. Feeling our bodies, sitting, laying, walking, connecting to our heartbeats. Imagining there is a ball of light, a golden ball of light on top of your head that's really big and bright, like a golden sun. Give it whatever texture, whatever magnitude you'd like. Now allow yourself to be lifted up, embraced by this golden ball, enraptured. And as this golden ball of light, you realize there is a space in front of you, surrounding you. And you notice that there are other golden balls of light. And in this space we meet, completely connected, surrendered, in perfect union with our source connection. This is a purifying space. Space of deep trust. Kindness. Compassion. And force. Welcome.
Lovely. That source connection.
Should we tell everybody what brought us to this space in time,
Mm-hmm.
individually, and then how this came about?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's something for me, and the reason I'm here on this planet at this time is to be a guide for people to connect to their source, to their own source. So there, to me, there's nothing more relevant right now on this planet. That is the guide. That is the thing, the only thing to obey is one's own source connection. So what is that? And it's really something that's individual for a person. It's something that's known for you. And everybody can come to it a little differently. So for me, that's why I loved when when you proposed that name, the source connection, right? Because it's so perfect. Like it's what we talk about all the time. And it's just, my life has been different iterations of that for people. You know, I think it's not so important what I've done or anything like that at this point. I'm here right now because I know that this is what is going to create the world that we want, that we need, that is inevitable, that is unfolding already. For each of us to be willing and available for our own source connection, and whatever guidance comes from that, regardless of what it looks like, but just that it feels aligned. So alignment is it's a word, but it's really a huge energy. I am an advocate for radical alignment for you, for me, for everybody. That's part of connecting to source. So that's why I'm here right now. And as other things unfold, and that's cool too to talk about, but that feels good for now.
Yeah. I'm just feeling this really deep peace right now. Just feeling the alignment and the knowingness that this is exactly what I'm supposed to be at this moment with you, talking about all these yummy things that we talk about together all the time, and finally to be sharing with others. I've always joked that I'm in the business of empowering people and empowering everyone to be who they truly are, coming home to ourselves. And we have many different tools that can assist us in creating that. And ultimately, as you spoke so eloquently, there's an inner knowing, there's a space in each and every one of us that represent the one in all of us that's so pure, so connected, so natural, and with such integrity that once you tap into that, nothing really fulfills at that level. And I think that these conversations are here to help create a dialogue amongst humans, beings having an experience at this time, a time that has been extremely loaded, intense, and diverse, and extraordinary all at once. So, yeah, happy.
Yeah. Extraordinary is the word for it, isn't it?
Yeah. One of the words, I guess.
One of the words, but it's like, it's extraordinary. Yes. Everything that's happening right now is so, but also at the same time, it's so, I have this sense that, oh, of course, this is happening. Everything that's happening in the world for all the amazing reasons that it's happening, you know, and then of course all the challenges it brings as well. And we hope to explore all of these things in this space with you all. And yeah. But so how Liz and I was like, I'm on track with something, and then I forgot about it. List out. No. So how did Liz and I come together for this? Probably many, many lifetimes ago, right? We signed up. So we're going to do this thing sometime. So yeah, we met in October of last year, all right, doing the Thank You Body event together in Los Angeles, and met and just immediately was like, oh, okay, hey, there you are, sisters. And then have since created together this beautiful group, locally where we live in LA. And it's just been incredible, to be together as often as we get to be together in person and touch and hug and all these beautiful things. So it just seemed like kind of the next natural step that we would share this space with more people, because it, so often we'll have a conversation like, oh, I wish we could have recorded that, or, wasn't meant to be at the time, but.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that through last year, I think that we both got activated in really understanding why we were here. I've never felt like I was from here. And since everything started to unfold last year, it became clearer and clearer that I've always had this inner sense that why are we doing things like this? And we don't need to control and go to war and dominate and enslave and, treat others the way that we've, as a society, have come to get used to. And so I think that last year was the process of really getting into this alignment at a level that anything that was not of this alignment in our lives would just literally fade to the background, and we could really meet in a space where the alignment was so clear that you had no doubt about what was happening. And I think our meeting was exactly that. Mm. To a level that, as you said, we've probably many lifetimes ago or many dimensions out there have already agreed to this kind of embodiment at this time. And here we are doing this. And once you touch the space, you can help but want to share this space, because it's a space of wonder, of connectivity to the depths of what means to be human, but beyond that. And so the experience of your human life becomes amplified to the magnitude of who you truly are. Mm-hmm. And so once we're having these conversations and we're like, wait a minute, there's something trying to come and emerge from this. And I remember being in meditation and I said, oh, because we had talked about, oh, we're going to do some lives and, let's start having these conversations. And it was so clear to me in meditation, like, it's a podcast and it's called The Source Connection.
It's like, it's a video podcast.
Right? And then you were like, it's a video podcast, because I hadn't even thought about that. And I was like, that's it. And so the co-creation was, if we think, and we know this, it's this sourcing that we're picking up. Yeah. And then we're helping manifest through saying yes, through actively connecting and just opening and all of that. And
it's coming through. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that more than ever last year showed me that we're all having such different experiences in this planet. And oftentimes society is bombarded with failure and fear and why things can't go right. And as we tap into this space, this sourcing space, we feel and know that everything's happening for us.
Yeah.
And that ultimately nothing can go really wrong.
Absolutely. This is all perfectly orchestrated. And I love that you touched on that that word doubt, and that whenever we often talk about that together, how we don't have that doubt we have a very clear conviction, right? And it's not an arrogance of an ego of I'm right. It's a no, this is the knowing. And it's so clear and it's so fierce. And I have met very few people in my life who possess that, right? Especially at this time. I know there's many, many out there. But at this time, there is, like you said, Liz, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of fear, even in our communities, even in the people who know the truth and who have the knowingness. And everybody's on their own timeline and their own journey and taking the steps at the time that they need to, even if they're baby steps. And there's nothing wrong with that. But to hold a space of absoluteness for the world, I mean, not that maybe sounds grandiose, but this space of this timeless space of sourcefulness is what, like you said, it's in all of us. So we are doing, if we're doing it for one, if we're doing it for ourselves or each other, it's for all, right? And so to hold that and to know, and whatever that looks like in our lives and everybody else's life, it's okay. But just to know that everything is going to be okay. I know that, like, somewhere inside of me, I just have no doubt about that. It may be real dicey along the way in many ways, right? But that's all perfect too, because then that's all the things that we need to grow, to expand. We're creating certain situations and certain instances for ourselves. So, I'm just excited, to finally be here together.
Yes. And I think that, I've gotten asked, do you not fear? Or do you not hesitate? Of course I do fear, and of course I do hesitate. Yet I'm able to continuously tap into this space where it's bigger than the events. It's bigger than the play out. It's bigger than the show that's happening, to a point where it's almost disassociating. There's no substance, like we've talked about before. Yes. And so it feels like a dragon with a cutout head that's really just trying, but there's no more source connection there. There's no more.
It's like breathing, but there's nothing coming out.
It's like it's theatrical in a way. Yep. And maybe because we've defined very clear boundaries about who we are and what we embody and what we're here to do, maybe that has something to do with that. But it just feels like almost, I think theatrical is the best word. Mm-hmm. Almost like it's like what is this?
Yeah. It's like two shows are going on. Right? I mean, there's two shows going on, and there's one that's like, whoa, WTF, like every day. And there's another show, right, that we're a part of. That's just this not new, there's something new about it. It's just this natural state of being that we all are and always have been, and connected to source. Whereas this other circus type situation is, there's no connection, right, to source. It's just like, and so, as we've spoken about, we can, of course, I have moments as well where I'm like, oh, what? I hear the circus news, right? Yeah. Like, what? It's so unbelievable. You're like, okay, I know, okay, I believe it, but it's kind of unbelievable. And then, so yeah, sure, there's moments I can go down that, down that rabbit hole of like, well, what are you gonna do, but. And just holding that and recognizing it for what it is consistently, just having that knowing. And then it feels like it doesn't even touch anymore. Like the effect, like, will it affect me in my life? Sure, probably, sure. That's okay. It has, going out logistically into the world, that's a thing. I don't have children, so that I know that's different than for a lot of people. And so I can't speak to that. I can imagine it's Liz, especially people who have their kids in like regular school and things like that. So I don't have a traditional job. I haven't for over 10 years. I work for myself, so I kind of, before all this happened, had already not been in the world in that way. So for me, I recognize it's been a lot easier, if you will.
Yeah.
But I also feel like the more we stay on our path of knowing, then the less that just has anything to do with us. Right. And that, like we've talked about, there's no desire anymore to engage. There's nothing there for us. It doesn't feel like like there's been moments where I had the grieving process or period of like letting that world go in a lot of ways, like just going out and to the stores and shopping or whatever. And now it's like, it's not the same experience. Right. So, but now I don't even have the desire to go. So it's just not there anymore, but it's different for everybody, and everybody has their own process and their own timing.
Yeah. Sitting with that and feeling that it's almost like we've simplified. And I keep feeling, the word basic and sustenance and everything that's not of that, just basic and sustenance. It's like, okay,
right,
you do you.
Right.
I don't know what to tell you.
Who are you talking to?
Who are you talking to? I mean, we talk about this all the time, and I thank you, sister, for listening to me say this, because it's every now and again when those kind of news where you're just kind of like, who are you talking to? Because it does not feel like it's us.
No.
I know it's not us.
Yeah. No.
Right? But it's almost like, wow, who are you? I mean, it ignites a certain kind of curiosity in me too, that I'm like, I want to go into these people's home, who these people are talking to, so I can maybe get a glimpse of what is it that's going on, because it just feels so distant from my experience. Yeah. It just feels so foreign. And I have to admit that, finally coming home to oneself and just being really okay with who you are, and knowing that it's okay to not be from here. It's okay to not make sense of what, there is no sense to be made of, and just feel really comfortable in that.
Yes.
And just feel really
that the mind tries to like figure it out. There is nothing to figure out. I mean, and also it's always been that way for those of us who felt not belonging here on this planet, and like, what is going on here? And what about violence? Just not understanding why people behave and operate in this way. It's always been that way. Now it's just very clear. It's just very clear. And so I'm grateful for that clarity.
Yeah.
Right. We've talked about this too. Just that, okay. So we've always been on these different frequencies. There's not, and I think who we both listen to, Oracle Girl, talks about, there's not really a polarization, because it's always been that way. It's people like, oh, we're so divided, we're so separated. Well, yeah, but we always were, in a way. Not that we're not all one. I don't mean in that way. We know that is source, right? But there's a choice of choosing source connection and then choosing the other frequency.
Yeah. And I think that because of the happenings and everything that has transpired and continues to transpire, it's just easier to pinpoint and be connected at a rational level, at a physical level, that maybe before it was just a feeling, or it was just a sense of, and now it's very much clear on every level what and who belongs to this, and what and who belongs to that. And it's liberating.
Isn't it though?
It's relieving.
It's just like 0 F's to give. We haven't decided if we're going to swear on this podcast yet. I'm up for it. I'm just comes out of me.
Just let it come as it needs to
Let
come.
it come. But got zero fucks to get. Just, and that's the liberation. And now, we're seeing that play out. And
Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah.
And we've always talked about how within our community, and I say our smaller community, but also our bigger community at large, the people who are aligned with organic ways of living and natural ways of living, and knowing that we are nature itself. So there's nothing to fear but fear itself. That when you disconnect from that inner knowing of who you truly are and your true expression of nature in bloom, in expression in this world, you don't have to fight it. You don't have to fear it, because you are it. And throughout last year and throughout this year, we've always felt like there was something missing, because there is a lot of conversations about the problems, the issues that we're facing, the disconnection that we're being presented with. And to us, we were missing the conversations about what feels true and what feels natural and what feels exciting and what feels connected. What are we creating here? Because with every dying, there's a birth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's exciting to be in this space where we get to finally share these conversations about, whoa, this is extraordinary times, like you said, in so many ways. Mm-hmm. And what are we choosing to focus on? Because clearly there is a system that's dying and cannibalizing itself.
Yes, self-destructing.
And with that, the opportunity for new ways of being, of living, of connecting, of expressing, of growing, it's just the same. I remember in one of my yoga classes, one of my favorite teachers, Guru Singh, spoke of, with every proposition, there's an equal force opposition. And so we've talked about how much it's easy to spend time in the proposition of what is trying to be created and birthed through this dragon with no head.
Yeah.
Or we can be talking about this power that's coming, because that's just the natural way of balancing things out. Yeah. And we've made, I think, a conscious choice to focus on that, so we could bring these conversations. So it's not just the two of us enjoying it or some of our friends together with us, but the world at large. So they can also recognize that space within themselves. So we're able to co-create this together and change the vibrational frequency of the conversations that are happening, because we can all be addicted to fear. Right. And at what point in every spectrum, and at what point do you decide that there's a higher frequency calling you, and that's the call that you're going to answer to?
Yeah, we make a choice every day. It doesn't mean that, sometimes I do look at that. What is that doctor that we listened to talked about trauma porn, right? Because we get addicted to the emotion of feeling something, of going, oh my God, what? That's happening. And I do it, and we do it together sometimes, and that's okay. Get it out. And if there's if there's really truly a trigger, an emotional charge, absolutely, work with that, be with that, let it unfold, but then it's like, how long do you stay there?
Yes.
Right? How long do you stay there? And do you go, okay, great. Like today I just had to I'm out, I'm closing Instagram, I'm focusing on this. So it's really that choice moment to moment, to stay focused on, what's really true. And what's really true just feels really good and is easy. It's easy. We talked about, I've had someone say to me, well, wow, this seems like the path you're going down is like the path of most resistance. It feels like the hardest possible way.
Mm.
And, you know, that was a reflection. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I'm not going along with everything, right? And for
Right.
me, it's like, it's the easiest thing I've ever done. It's the easiest decision I've ever made. It doesn't mean there aren't logistical challenges. There are. But that I'm willing, I'm all in for that. There's no question. So it's making your choice. Yeah, you can dip back into that fear. Yeah, okay, that's probably going to come and go as this whole thing dies off. But what is really are you going to commit yourself to?
Yeah.
What is the choice you're going to make every day for yourself, for this planet? Because we need all of us, as many as possible, to choose the light, if you will.
Mm.
Mm.
It's just choosing, as you said, moment by moment. And there are moments where it's necessary to tap into that, and it's good contrast.
Yes.
And it's good to it's not, some people may think, well, wouldn't that be bypassing? It can be bypassing if you are avoiding a feeling, but as you disconnect from that, there's no avoidance anymore, because there isn't a feeling there anymore. The feeling tone loses its power.
Yeah.
And so you even look at that and it's almost at times like, what is this? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't hold any water. It doesn't have any more weight to it.
It's a joke, right? It's just a big joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, please.
If you really, the whole bypassing thing, the whole spiritual bypassing thing has always kind of made me giggle in a way too, because if we're meant to process something, there's an emotion coming up or a scenario that we have pattern we haven't cleared yet, it will come back. Don't you worry your pretty little head. It's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? Bypassing, impossible. I'm sorry, but it is not possible to bypass. You may temporarily be able to hold it off, but that mother is coming back for you. So, you know what I mean? So why not choose the love and the knowing and the truth? Because that will transmute and purify all that stuff anyway. By nature, that's what it does. That's what we do when we tap into it. We know it.
Yeah.
And like you said, there's times when we got to know, okay, I have a kid who's in school. You got to stand up. You got to be fierce.
Yeah.
Right? You're not turning away from anything at all. And we all have our own roles to play. And some people that's super like the activist, and other people it's, I'm just holding the piece, everybody's got their role.
Yes. And really knowing that and coming home to yourself to really embody that, because everything is needed at every level.
Oh, yeah.
So we were together at that event and we saw this fierce human rights attorney and we were talking, wow, what a role to play in this moment. And then other people are going to play different roles. Not everybody's going to be on the spotlight saying certain things, but it doesn't mean that they're not creating something with their lives and all of that. And I think that the more you tap into that, and that can also fluctuate because you may have moments where you feel more called to be more vocal or verbal or out there, others that you feel more introspective and more local and more personal. So I think, as you said, going back, it's moment by moment, tapping into that connection and what is trying to come through you and at each and every step of the way. And just really, when you are in that deep commitment, in that integrity, there's less doubt, there's less worry, because you know that you are partaking and you are taking your role perfectly as it is in every interaction, every conversation, every alone time, every whatever thing is. And I think that we're also moving into a time where we're reclaiming magic and the things that we can see or speak of or necessarily quantify. And so I think that while some people are trying to comprehend the world through a mechanical more brainy side, some of us are tapping into the magic that's expressing and coming through that leaves so much room for wonder and excitement in little things, and how it touches you in such a beautiful way. Today I was at the park and there was a little caterpillar walking, and by all means, I don't even know how I noticed it, because I was taking a dance lesson, and when I looked, I couldn't help but just I squatted down, and I don't know how much time I spent, but she was so cute, and she was kind of lavender, and she had this yellow spots and little dots, and she was just, climbing this grass, and I was like, wow. I mean, that's that being's world right now, and it's such up and down because there's tall grass and little grass, right? Plus the threat of what's happening around, somebody coming and just mushing it. So as I'm dancing, I put like a couple of leaves so I would know where the bean was, right? Because I could go back and then I'd find it moving, and then at some point I felt the need to tend and care and be like, maybe I should move it to a certain other place. And then immediately my source connection was like, this is who you are, and this is nature happening at every moment. It has happened for thousands of years. It will continue to happen perfectly as it needs to happen. There's nothing for you to do.
Nothing
To
to
enjoy yourself. There's no saving to do. There's no moving to another place, because it's perfect.
I love
And I enjoyed that caterpillar the whole time I was there, and I had noticed her, and she was the most adorable thing I saw all day.
Oh, sorry. Just be yourself.
Just being with the magic of every moment. There's so much magic. There's so much beauty. So much. And so I think that it has become very clear to me that the best thing that I can do is just live the best life that I can live at every moment, and love the shit out of people, like we've talked about before. Love the shit out of them, because God knows what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. And ultimately, as you come home to not fearing your own death,
yes,
again, you're liberated.
Yeah, really knowing your own infinite nature, that we are not even this, right? This is our beautiful bodies we are inhabiting in this time, but that's also temporary, just like everything is here. So yeah, that's the nail on the head, right? As they say, is this fear of death, which is what has spiraled the world into where we're at now. And totally perfectly, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we go, I'd like to propose that, everybody listening to this, and until we meet again, just contemplate at every moment what's preventing you from living, and just being present, and living the best expression of who you are.
Yeah, it's a beautiful invitation. Yeah, where can you just be more of yourself in this moment? That's it.
Yeah.
Yes. Episode 1.
And here we go. Thank you, sister, for co-creating this space. And this is just the beginning of beautiful conversations. I'm excited about our guests.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have some guests.
And yeah, really specially selected as we tune into this frequency of nature. It's really what it is, I guess.
Purity and pure love.
Yeah. Integrity at a level that we're here to embody, and to just remind people of the level of integrity also that they have the capacity to embody. Yes. So thank you for journeying with us. Yeah,
thank you everyone for being here. We can't wait to be with you next time. So much love. Bye. Bye. you.